Hello, friends! You might remember in the beginning of the year I built this thing. Well, something happened. I dropped it, and now, for some reason, I don't know, the back doesn't want to stay on anymore, and so I can't really use it for anything, because it falls apart. There is a tiny little screw in there, and it just doesn't want to screw into the holder thing here to keep everything attached. And so I was thinking that we would put it into a pedal enclosure. Now I have this box right here because it's big enough. This whole part here is fairly big. If we take this off, you can see it's pretty big. But it's a little bit waste of a box to take something this big and use it for just that thing. And if you've seen some of the pedals that Simon the Magpie actually make, because the whole thing here was inspired from his pedals that he built, you know that he actually has a pedal you can buy that is a fuzz with the whole rotary thing in it. But I don't have any pedal closures that are that size. I only have this box laying around, and so I'm going to use it. Some of you probably want to know what this is and where it comes from. And it's just an electrical box that you can get in any hardware store. They're actually white and they're used for house electrician-y things, you know, that you use it for your house. And they're not intended for pedal building. So I just painted it with some hammer lacquer to make it look green. And now I'm going to use it as a pedal enclosure. So if you want a box like this, go to your hardware store and look at the electricianist section and see what you can find. Now, because this is so big, I was thinking that I would also put this pedal inside of it. This is a pedal kit from Music Ding. It's called Fox or Fox. I'm thinking, because this is a pedal that I don't necessarily use. It's a cool kit, and also if you want some sort of like delay pedal, it is a cool pedal, but I don't use it. I built it, I played around with it, and I lost interest in it immediately, basically. So I'm gonna put this in and make it into a pedal with 2 pedals in it. Actually, 3 pedals, because I'm gonna put one of these little Fuss LM386 chip in there as well, just because I still have some, and I'm thinking that maybe it could be fun. So yes, we're basically gonna have 3 pedals in one enclosure thing. Probably something that, as a DIYer, you would at some point want to make. Maybe not with these things, but this is what makes me excited. The truth is, I'm not really using this that much either. I made it, I thought it was fun, I thought maybe I could do some fun things with it. And yeah, no, nothing really fun has happened. But I'm hoping that together with some other weird things in one big box, creativity will strike, and maybe I will use this to make some music. So if we open this up, we have a mounting plate right here. If we take that off, we can use it as a template to help us measure out where we're gonna do some sort of hole, so that we can mount this whole thing in there. So give me a couple of seconds to take this off and we'll see what happens. And there we have it. Now we just need to unscrew those 2 screws. Now we just need... Ooh. Look at that. That's... Oh, I love these sort of things. They look so beautiful. Okay, so I'm gonna widen this hole up a bit with a step bit. And then I'm gonna take my jigsaw and I'm just gonna cut out this weird, almost circle thing, so that this here will fit there. And I'm going to use this little tab that sticks out to secure this, so that hopefully this will lie flush. That's at least my idea. Hopefully it will work. If it doesn't, I'll have to come up with something else. And yeah, wish me luck. Okay, so the hole didn't turn out that neat. and nice, but it's okay because it doesn't really matter. We'll feed these cables through here. We'll take this back plate here and feed the 2 wires through this little hole here, and then we'll just line up these tabs that I have here. And one broke, but it doesn't matter because it's still gonna be able to pinch everything in place. So we're gonna line those up, and we're gonna line this up as well, and we're just gonna take the screws that we took out, line everything back up again. So there we have it. That looks okay, I think. The pedal is like that, and then this is just gonna get transferred over in there. Maybe it looks a little, yeah, something like that maybe for you. So I'm just gonna keep these controls where they are, and this light down here where it is, and this there, and just drill those holes out here. I'll move this to closer to the center, but we do have this thing right there in the way, so it's gonna be off to the side. And then 1 control extra, so it's gonna be 3 in a row, I think, up there for this. I think, I don't know, we'll have to see if I can fit it in there, but it shouldn't be a problem because this is going pretty close to the edge, like something like that, maybe, I don't know. Okay, so I've drilled all the holes and I've mounted all the hardware. I had a little bit of accidents because some of the things that I've done to this box to make it work for me is that I've filled in some holes, and some of those holes got almost re-drilled, and that's why things are a little bit crooked. I don't know if you can tell, but they're not perfectly centered. I moved this a bit away from the switch also, so I had to cut some things. But anyway, the hardware is all in place, and that means that some of the parts are on the inside, as you can see. And so I didn't go through that so much because I felt like I've done videos on how to wire a true bypass switch. So if you have something that doesn't have this little PCB thing like me, you can watch that video and use that. It's going to work perfectly well for this. And also I've already done a video about how to drill an enclosure. So I feel like you don't need to see that. The only thing that was a little bit different was making sure you had a hole here for this. But that could also be different depending on what kind of phone you're using. Some phones, you know, they look different models, done different years. Some are really old, you know, from the 50s or something like that. And some are, you know, from the mid 90s maybe. I don't know. So I skimmed through it, but now we're going to jump into wiring this up so that all the 3 pedals works. If we look on the inside here, we have 1 pedal here. That's the pedal from Music Ding. We have a potentiometer here with nothing, and that's where we're going to attach this little thing. And then we have this big thing here. That is, you know, it's not a pedal, but it's, you know, we're using it as a pedal, so it's got to count for something. So let's just jump into wiring this up, and then we can put the back on. So woo! Okay, so because I moved this, I need to put on some cables from the switch where the LED was to back to the LED. Basically, just some jumper cables. So I'm just gonna quickly solder them in place and hope that they stick. But something like that. And then obviously also back to the LED. And they have a plus and a minus. And so we're just gonna connect the plus to the plus and the minus to the minus. The way we always do when we do what we do. Which is putting on jumper cables. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is we're gonna wire this thing here up. Now, in the other pedal, if you saw the video, these were just connected to the plus on the jacks. And the reason why I did it that way was simply because it was an easy way to do it. I didn't have a switch or anything because it was basically bypass all the time. And when you turn the dial thing, that's when the effect is on. And I'm thinking that I want this to be able to be used with the effects, but I also want them without the effects. And you could do it 2 ways. One way is to wire up 2 true bypass switches together, or you could do what I'm gonna do, which is I'm just gonna wire these up as if this is the input signal, and then it won't matter if it's on or not, because it's just a question of if it's bypass. So I'm gonna just I'm gonna cut this back a bit and strip it good. And then I'm going to pre-tin it like I always do. And then I'm just going to attach these two wires together like so. And then I'm going to take my heat shrink tube here that I so cleverly put on before I soldered them together. And I'm just going to move it over, and I'm going to use my soldering iron to warm up the tube so that it shrinks in on that. And if you've seen a lot of my other videos where I build stuff, you know that I always want to put shrink tube on things, but I always forget to do it. I feel like I always sort of like, you could use it here, but I'm not going to use it. And it's just because I'm not thinking, I'm just doing stuff, and sometimes things turns out the way they're supposed to, and I'm happy. Sometimes I just forget everything and it comes back to me. So leave me a comment saying that you're proud of me for overcoming my shrink tube endeavor. There we go. It's not perfect, but it's okay considering it's the wrong size. And now I'll just attach this to the plus on the jack over here. And that's gonna be it for that part. Now we just need a ground connection that is a little bit longer. I'm just gonna pre-tin this and put it in place like so. And now the signal will go in here and to the switch and to the other jack, all through the pedals. And this thing will affect it if we want it to. It will also not affect it at all if we want it to. And yeah, I'm just gonna attach this ground wire over there and I'll be back. Okay, so just gonna attach these little wires to the switch. So start with the first one, and I pre-tinned everything, so hopefully it will melt together. And these are just, you know, jumper cables, replacing the trim pot with an actual big pot so that I can switch things around. If you've seen the other videos on the subject, then you know exactly what it is I'm doing. And I'm just doing that again. Something like that. There they are. I hope you could see. I'm gonna have to sit and think a little bit so I don't do any mistakes, because basically the signal is gonna go into this and come out of this and go out, go into this and come back out of here. So what I need to do is I need to find the two in and out cables, which one thing is at least good. I have labeled them with colors. So I know that the in is this green one. So I can take this green one and I can just cut it like so, and maybe I can actually cut it for real, and then I can try to nestle them out so that I can work with them. And then the out is this orange one, and yeah, the out one is gonna stay, I think, right? The signal goes into this and comes out and goes into this and comes out to the switch, right? So this one here needs to be stripped back, and I'm gonna just tin it to keep it neat and make sure that nothing goes wrong. It's probably not necessary. That in is going to this one's out, because it's basically just like when you attach pedals, when you're building a pedal board. Basically, you know, one pedal goes into another's out from there in. So if you're a beginner, now you know that. Then just tighten the screw down, and this here will get stripped back, but we're probably gonna have to add on a new cable and lengthen this, because it's a little bit on the short side. So I put on a bit of shrink tube, just so we don't have any silly little accidents with things shorting out on each other later on. And we just put a little bit, so now they're together. No, they're not. And then we just pull the shrink tube up over it and we try to melt it in place. And I need to get some shrink tube that is different sizes. And now this cable here can be attached to the in here. Something like that. And now I think we're done, except we need some power. So let's start with one of these grounds on this one, like so. And this ground here, it needs to be longer, because I don't know if you can see it. Maybe if I move it a little bit like this. We have this tip here, and it needs to go all the way over here. And I'm gonna put some shrink tube on this as well. Twist these together. You guys need to stay together, you're best friends. Always the same thing with ground wires. They're so negative. They don't want to hang out. And now we have the ground connection from the jack to both of the little pedals. And now we just need to do the same thing with the VCC and the 9-volt plus. And now I think we're done. So I'm just gonna try to figure out a way to put this down on the bottom here neatly without it touching the metal. That's the way it looks on the inside. I did make this cable here a little longer just because I wanted to hot glue this down so it was staying in place. I put a tiny piece of wood underneath as a spacer so that it wouldn't circuit out. And now all I need to do is put this plate, the back plate, on. And that's the way it looks on the front. I need to put on some knobs, obviously, to make everything look cool. And hopefully I do have some cool knobs. I'm gonna check in my drawer of spare parts and see. But if I don't have any cool knobs, you guys are gonna have to help me come up with something. Recommend me some cool knobs that you think will go together with this. Most likely something cream, because I think that would match. Don't think I have any cream knobs, so... Anyway, that's the end of this video. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the pedal. I think it's actually kind of fun and cool. And even if you don't go with the whole rotary thing, I think it's nice. I like it. Yeah, I think I've already said that. But yeah, let me know what you think. Anyway, yeah, that's the end of that video. This video. Anyway. Until next time, stay awesome and cool. And go and build yourself one of these weird pedals that are a bunch of kits inside of one giant box. And see what happens. You don't need to use the things I used in this one. It was just, hopefully, something that inspired you. Let me know in the comments below if it did. And don't forget to press the like button and subscribe.